Good morning. This is Doreen with ThoughtStorm Journal. I want to talk a little bit today about emotional issues and how they can pile up on us and weigh us down. So the saying goes, life is messy, clean it up. But we don't often realize this also refers to the more emotional and mental aspects of our lives. Have you ever wondered why you feel steadily worse as time goes by? Over a course of years, it's like the issues of a lifetime are piling up on you. And you can feel like you're running around in circles. And that's because you are, unless you deal with your emotional issues as they come up. This is why I advocate for therapeutic practices like therapy and shadow work, journaling, or ideally all three. Now, if I'm not with people on a regular basis, I am on social media. I do see people daily. But here's what I see most of the time with people that disturbs me. I see them venting about something that bothers them, and it's generally something that bothers them on a regular basis. Often the same person, same type of problem, different scenario. Or I see people who are talking peace and love and namaste and never have anything bad to say about anyone or anything, no matter what. Now, both of these states can be very emotional, and actually like a lit match sitting close to a bundle of dynamite. They are disasters waiting to happen, and I'll tell you why I think so. If you're venting to others on a regular basis about the same things over and over again, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing to vent. We all need to do that, but it's not good to not vent constructively and productively, or this issue in your life will literally never go away. And you'll still be venting every day for the rest of your life until all your friends are gone. They won't be able to stand it anymore. And, alternatively, on the other side of it, if you're one of those who has absolutely nothing bad to say about anyone or anything ever, it's great to observe the positive in life, don't get me wrong, but you're probably not being completely honest. Life can have so many ups and downs, and so many things can be thrown at us that to simply deny all the bad things and pretend everything is fine every minute of the day can literally kill you from the inside. I had to learn all this the hard way, of course. I spent many years being depressed and complaining and being negative all the time and sharing my negativity with everyone. But I did finally work through that, and I started to learn to be positive over the course of time. But I found that after a while, that wasn't really working either, because it's a funny thing about being positive. People, including therapists, tell you to keep your thoughts positive and that you create your own reality. And that's true. But what no one tells you is that you can't be positive by simply denying all the negative stuff. Life throws negative stuff at you all the time, and fighting and straining and stressing and striving to be positive no matter what will eventually wear you down. It makes you tired. So neither of those scenarios is ideal for lasting peace of mind. It's best to deal with negative emotions as they come up and to not suppress them. I'm going to tell you why it's important to get rid of them on a regular basis. While I was learning this process of being positive, I came up with a metaphor called the dirty garage analysis that illustrates this perfectly. It doesn't have to be a garage. It can be a spare room, a basement, a shed, or any place you throw extra stuff you're not using. But the analogy works the same. Imagine your unconscious mind is your garage. Whenever you have something that you need to do something with and you can't decide what to do with it, or you don't want to deal with it right now, you will put that thing in the garage. And you think it's gone. It's not blocking your walkway through the house. It's not in your way. It's not sitting there in plain sight reminding you of what a problem it is. So it's gone, right? You've dealt with it. No, you haven't. Imagine that over time you do this very same thing with maybe hundreds of items you can't make a decision about or don't want to deal with. Imagine that you put all those things into the garage. And it's possible you've denied or ignored the fact that all this stuff is piled to the roof out there, or overflowing and making its way under the overhead door, or even poking out a broken glass window. And then there's this awful smell, like something's died under all that. It's just about that bad. And suddenly one day you decide you want to take a bicycle ride. It's a beautiful day and you'd like to enjoy fresh air and sunshine and get a little exercise too. And let's say your bicycle represents your peace of mind and happiness. But unfortunately, that bicycle is out there buried in the garage. You try to access the garage to get your bicycle out, and suddenly you see the reality in front of you. You know you own a bicycle, it's there somewhere, but you can't see it or even remember exactly where it is because there's this thick wall of stuff that's probably buried under. And in order to get to the bicycle, you have to first deal with this big mess of stuff. But the mess might just be so big and so overwhelming that you don't want to try and deal with it. Maybe it runs through your mind that you could maybe just go buy yourself a new bicycle, or just even drop the whole idea altogether. And all the things you put out there and left until they've piled up are your emotional issues. Since you didn't want to deal with them directly as they presented themselves, you shoved them out into the garage. You probably don't go out there very often, or if you do, you don't really look at the mess. But there's a part of you that remembers it's still there. You can kind of feel it. That mess has not gone away, and it's buried your peace of mind. The bicycle you know is there, somewhere. Our existence can be like this. Anytime we have an issue we don't want to deal with, we push it back into our unconscious mind and we pretend it's gone. But it's become part of that big mess that buries our joy and happiness. If we don't deal with every issue as it comes up, we'll ultimately end up with an overwhelmingly messy, unconscious mind. And what problems can that cause? Just like the dirty garage, the quote-unquote debris can overflow. It can affect our ability to think and make good decisions, and the weight and volume of that debris can drag us down into a depressed or anxious state. It can make us feel stuck from being overwhelmed that we waited too long to clean up the mess. And we can feel literally buried by it. We can even feel angry at ourselves that we didn't see the problem sooner or were too lazy to deal with it in a constructive way. And we may feel like giving up because we think it's too late to do anything. This is where a lot of people find themselves. A mess is a mess. Whether it's in our mind or in our garage, if we don't keep all of our messes cleaned up, we will eventually be buried under them. And think about this. Think back to a time when you really applied yourself and got a really big mess in your life cleaned up. Do you remember how much better you felt? It's like a huge weight had been lifted off of you. And it's the same with cleaning out your unconscious mind. If you keep the proverbial mess cleaned up in the garage that is your unconscious mind, it will always be pretty easy to find that bicycle. So, when emotional issues come up, deal with them directly. Address them directly through shadow work, journaling, or even talk them out loud to yourself. And ask yourself how they're making you feel. And let your unconscious mind say what it needs to say so it can empty itself out. Don't spare the 4-letter words. This is therapy. There are no rules here. Let it all out. Clean that garage from top to bottom.